I made some Kool-Aid for you. I know that lemon is your favorite flavor.
45 minutes late.
I ain't going to work today.
Well, why not?
Because I can't work with a man I just had a roller coaster ride with. Word on the street is that he's going to be in traction.
You know me, I just talked to him.
Thank you, Black Dynamite. I'm so happy. You know we can keep it all in the family.
Ooh, you got a fat ass.
Well, you look nice, too. I see money couldn't fix all your problem areas.
Okay.
I see you. After I see you ain't gonna talk to your friend about my crouch or no shit. My thighs rubbing together, skinny girl. You just see it. You see when a girl talk about you, she gonna look right here and then do this. Look at this. I turned around, my back to the camera, and I stuck them teeth up in my mouth. One was gold and the rest was crooked. Baby, they said that first line, and I turned around. They fell out.
And I was mentoring young girls, and obviously one of the girls got pregnant. She left my name at the hospital. Till the hospital called me. Hospital called and said, "We got your baby ready." I was like, I thought it was one of my comic friends. I was like, I didn't order a baby. The fries come with that baby.
What if everything you thought you knew about motherhood was completely wrong? What if becoming a mother didn't start with 9 months of planning, glowing baby showers, or a carefully chosen name, but with a 4-day-old infant left at a hospital, wearing a tiny toe tag with your name on it? And what if you had exactly 20 minutes to decide whether to take that baby home or watch him disappear into the system forever? But before we get to the phone call that detonated Kym Whitley's entire life in a single afternoon, there's another truth, another secret really. One so wild, so unbelievable, that Hollywood itself couldn't have written it. This woman accidentally saved a man from life in prison simply by filming a scene at a baseball game. And that's not even the craziest part of her journey, because there's also the blood, the bruises, and the behind-the-scenes chaos during Next Friday when a co-star hit her so hard they had to shut down production. Yeah, we're going there. Because this is the story of a woman who didn't just survive Hollywood. She reshaped it using nothing but nerve, humor, fearlessness, and the kind of chaotic magic you only get once in a generation. To really understand who Kym Whitley is, you have to go all the way back. July 21st, 1961, Cleveland, Ohio, a loud, bright, energetic baby girl arrives in the world, but she doesn't stay in Ohio for long. Her father, an architect with a global mind, picked up the entire family and moved them to Sudan, Africa, while Kym was still in elementary school. Imagine that. One day you're in Cleveland, the next you're halfway across the world, surrounded by new sounds, new languages, new rhythms, and new rules. Kym spent 6 years in Africa, speaking with a full British accent so thick you'd think she stepped out of a BBC special. She'd walk around saying things like, "Mommy, may I have some tea?" And she meant it. But when she returned to Cleveland years later, that accent evaporated in 72 hours. 3 days back home, and suddenly she was saying, "Hey Ma, Scotty over here tripping," like she never left. Growing up with brothers toughened her up fast. She wasn't the delicate little girl people expected. She was out there tackling boys, winning pie-eating contests, outrunning half the neighborhood, and refusing to wear dresses no matter how much her mother tried. That tomboy spirit, it would follow her all the way into adulthood and become a huge part of her comedic identity. Fearless, physical, unpredictable, and bold. Fast forward to the early 1990s. Kym Whitley starts climbing her way into Hollywood, the hardest industry in the world. Her first big TV role came on The Sinbad Show, playing his love interest alongside a young Ray J. The chemistry was chaotic, funny, playful, exactly what casting directors wanted. But behind the scenes, Kym had a secret she kept from everyone around her. She was terrified of kissing on camera. This fear was so intense that during romantic scenes, she'd break into full comedy routines just to avoid intimate moments. Imagine being in the middle of a tender, emotional scene and suddenly switching into stand-up mode because you're too scared to lean in. That was Kym. It wasn't insecurity. It was pure survival instinct. She wasn't going to embarrass herself on camera, not when she'd worked so hard to even get in the room. Then came 1993, the moment everything shifted. Her friend Jackie Edmonds, producer on Martin and one of Kym's earliest Hollywood angels, opened a door that changed her life. Kym had no agent, no manager, no roadmap for success, but she had people who believed in her. Jackie handed her an audition that would define her entire comedic voice, and Kym nearly blew it. In the middle of the audition, producer Bentley Kyle Evans grabbed her, physically dragged her into the hallway, and told her straight up that she needed to tighten up, focus, and show them who she really was. That humiliating moment flipped a switch inside her. She walked back in the room and unleashed every ounce of personality she had, and she landed the job. Working with Martin Lawrence taught her the unspoken golden rule of comedy. Real comedians don't block funny. If someone brings heat, you let them cook. You join the energy instead of shutting it down. Kym carried that rule throughout her entire career. Then came 1995 and the Wayans, another show, another chance, another test. Casting director Leah Daniels told her she was too pretty to play a deranged fan. Kym wasn't hearing any of that. She marched to a toy store, bought prosthetic teeth, one gold, the rest so crooked they looked like a busted piano, and slept with them in her mouth so her speech would sound authentic. She woke up with smeared mascara, insane hair, and those terrifying teeth ready to go. But halfway through the audition, disaster struck. One of the prosthetics fell out of her mouth. Instead of panicking, she kept going. The producers were shaking, crying, laughing on the floor. She booked the role instantly. By now, the industry had learned something. You couldn't predict Kym Whitley. You could try, you could assume, but she'd always surprise you, always push the moment further, always turn disaster into comedy gold. And then came 1999. Next Friday, the role that changed everything. But before we step onto that set, and before we get to the blood, the bruises, and the moment DC Curry accidentally hurt her so badly production had to stop, we need to talk about the callback with Ice Cube. Because that moment, that was when Kym stopped being a working actress and became a Hollywood force. Kym walked into the Next Friday callback already knowing the room wasn't convinced. They told her she wasn't right for the role. She wasn't sugar enough. She wasn't the type. She wasn't the vibe. But Kym Whitley has never listened to people who underestimated her. So she came prepared, with a secret weapon that no Hollywood acting coach could have ever suggested. In the middle of her callback with Ice Cube himself, wearing that tight dress they'd given her for the scene, she reached inside, pulled out a real bottle of cognac, and slammed it on the table like she'd been sugar her entire life. The producers froze. Ice Cube fell out laughing. The room exploded. Kym didn't just act sugar, she became her. But with the role came something she didn't expect. Pain. Real pain. During the spanking scene with DC Curry, who played the unforgettable, loud, chaotic Uncle Elroy, nobody told him that the sound effects would be added in post-production. So while cameras rolled, he was hitting her. For real. By the third take, Kym had blood blisters all over her backside. They had to shut down production, bring ice packs, and let her recover. It was her first big movie. It was DC Curry's first big movie. Neither of them knew what they were doing. They were just trying to survive the scene. But that wasn't even the most embarrassing thing that happened on that set. Somewhere in a vault, maybe Ice Cube's house, maybe a studio storage room, there is a tape. A tape Kym wishes would burn in a fire, disappear in a storm, or get accidentally eaten by rats. A 20-minute reel of her dancing alone in a studio wearing latex, trying to look sexy for test shots, even though she fully admits she cannot dance. She prays that footage never surfaces, because if it does, the internet will break. But Hollywood wasn't done surprising her, because the very next year, 2000, the phone rang. And not just any phone call. It was Eddie Murphy. He wanted her in his next project, no audition, no callback, no pressure to prove herself, just come get this check. I want you in this. For the first time in her career, she was chosen because someone saw value, not potential. The residuals from that tiny role ended up being larger than what she earned from some entire seasons of television. It was the moment she realized, if Hollywood chooses you once, it can choose you again. Then came one of the biggest turning points of her career, Curb Your Enthusiasm in 2001. To this day, her role as Menina, the unforgettable prostitute who tangled with Larry David, remains iconic. But what most people don't know is that Kym didn't even know who Larry David was when she met him. She had simply seen this little white man on TV and thought he was cute. She had no clue he was the billionaire co-creator of Seinfeld. Preparing for the role, Kym wanted authenticity. So she called Cat Williams, yes, that Cat Williams, to teach her street slang, rhythm, tone, and attitude. He coached her over the phone, giving her line after line of phrases she'd never say in real life, but Kym was determined to do Menina right. Then came the Dodgers game. They were filming an episode with 400 extras, shooting in one of the busiest stadiums in America. Kym had no idea that this random filming day, this simple comedy moment, would become part of a legal case, a Netflix documentary, and a literal life-saving miracle. A man who was facing murder charges had told the police he was at a Dodgers game with his daughter. Nobody believed him. His alibi was considered shaky, but his lawyer later spotted him in the background of the very episode they filmed that day. Kym Whitley helped save a man from life in prison just by showing up for work. The case became the focus of the documentary Long Shot, proving that sometimes Hollywood magic spills far beyond the screen. Through the 2000s, Kym kept grinding. TV shows, stand-up tours, guest roles, voice acting, The Parkers, The Boondocks, short films, sitcoms. She was building a career brick by brick, laugh by laugh, roll by roll. And through that grind, she became known as the woman who could turn absolutely anything into comedy. One time, she even sent Boondocks creator Aaron Magruder a thank you basket filled with a durag, a 40-ounce, a gold chain, and a fake prescription bottle with a joint inside labeled "break in case of network notes." But nothing, and this is the part most people don't understand, nothing in Hollywood prepared her for what happened in 2011. It was a normal Tuesday afternoon in Valley Village. Kym's parents were visiting from Cleveland. The day was quiet, peaceful, boring even. Then the phone rang. A social worker. Out of nowhere, someone had left a 4-day-old baby at the hospital. On the infant's toe tag, Kym Whitley's name and phone number. The social worker said she had exactly 20 minutes to decide. 20 minutes to choose whether to pick up a baby or let him go into the system, and the words hit her like an earthquake. But what happened next? The moment her mother opened her mouth, changed everything. Kym stood there frozen, the phone still warm in her hand, staring at the wall like it might suddenly give her the answer. How could anyone process a question like that in 20 minutes? How do you decide to become a mother? Not someday, not eventually, not after 9 months of preparation, but right now. Her mother didn't hesitate. She looked at Kym and said the words that changed everything. "You've been chosen. Go get your baby." Those words shattered every fear, every excuse, every doubt. They woke something inside Kym, a sense of destiny she didn't know she had. Suddenly, the impossible became clear. She had 2 hours to buy a car seat and a bassinet. No parenting books, no supplies, no nursery, no plan, and definitely no time to think. That same afternoon, 2 social workers arrived at her house. One held a tiny 4-day-old infant. The other carried all of his belongings in a clear trash bag. That baby would become her son, Joshua Whitley. Kym was in her 40s, single, busy, deep in the chaos of Hollywood, and now suddenly a mother. Hollywood, the same industry known for competition, heartbreak, and egos, stepped up in a way Kym never expected. Vivica A. Fox met her at a Macy's parking lot with her entire car packed full of baby supplies. Diapers, clothes, bottles, everything a new mother could possibly need. Producers from Family Guy sent her $1,000 worth of diapers. Sherri Shepherd didn't even hesitate before becoming Joshua's godmother. It was the village she didn't know she had, and the one she desperately needed. Then came Oprah Winfrey. Oprah gave Kym her own show, Raising Whitley, which documented her chaotic, hilarious, unpredictable journey through motherhood. Hollywood had never seen a story like hers. A woman handed a baby through sheer destiny, building a family not through biology, but through divine timing. Everything Sherri Shepherd predicted, every blessing she said would come, did. Work kept coming, auditions picked up, roles multiplied, opportunity after opportunity rolled in. For the first time, Kym felt like life was opening doors faster than she could walk through them. But with all the blessings, Kym carried one heavy regret, one that still stings her when she talks about her early years in Hollywood. She never asked for help. Jennifer Lewis was right there, her mentor, her big sister in the business, a powerhouse who could have opened doors with a single phone call. Martin Lawrence was right there too, someone who adored her talent. Other legends loved her, believed in her, supported her. But she never reached out. She never wanted to be a burden, never wanted to owe anyone anything. And that fear of asking, fear of receiving, kept her from leveling up sooner. It's the lesson she carries to this day. Closed mouths don't get fed. Today, Joshua is 14 years old. From the first day she brought him home, Kym chose honesty. She used the word adoption openly, not as something shameful or hidden, but as part of his identity. He doesn't call himself adopted. He says he's chosen, because that's exactly what he was. His extended family includes dozens of Hollywood aunties and uncles who helped Kym raise him. Actors, producers, comedians, friends who became a real village. In her personal life, Kym had 7 engagement rings, but never made it to the altar. 7 proposals, but 0 weddings. Instead, she became a mother through a phone call. And today, she's raising a son she never expected, in a life she never planned, with a love she couldn't have imagined. Her career didn't slow down, it transformed. Recently, Happy Gilmore 2 dropped on Netflix and shattered streaming records. Her comedy residency at Jimmy Kimmel's Comedy Club in Las Vegas is selling out every single night. Her podcast with Sherri Shepherd, Two Funny Mamas, has exploded, becoming a staple for fans who love real, unfiltered conversations. Her net worth sits at approximately $3.5 million, built penny by penny over decades of hustle, auditions, setbacks, and divine timing. But behind the accomplishments, Kym's true power lies in her resilience, her ability to turn rejection into fuel, her willingness to reinvent herself again and again, her fearlessness in moments when most people would run. Today, she's developing multiple new projects, touring her stand-up across the country, and finally working on the comedy special fans have been begging for. After decades in the industry, she's still climbing, still breaking barriers, still controlling her own narrative, but none of that compares to what she teaches young actors, the secret she wishes she had known earlier. Success is 10% talent and 90% personality and kindness. Kym built her entire career on that principle. Not being the prettiest, not being the skinniest, not being the favorite, but being the woman who made people feel something. Joy, comfort, familiarity, laughter, that was her superpower. 3 decades later, she's still standing, still shining, still laughing at her own misadventures, still mothering a son who was given to her by fate, still proving to Hollywood that the journey matters more than the destination. And even after everything, every audition, every heartbreak, every blessing, there's still one loose thread in her story, one secret she hopes stays buried forever. Somewhere in a studio vault, Ice Cube still has those dancing tapes. But Kym's story doesn't end with motherhood, fame, or even the twists of destiny. It ends with the truth she discovered about survival. How to walk through a world that constantly tells you who to be, what to say, how to act, and still come out on the other side as yourself. Not a version shaped by executives, not a character built by casting directors, but the same Cleveland girl who outran boys, cracked jokes in Sudan, and learned how to turn fear into fuel. One thing people misunderstand about Kym Whitley is this: she didn't stumble into success. She outlasted everyone else. She kept showing up. She kept grinding when the checks were short. She kept performing when the roles dried up. She kept laughing even when Hollywood wasn't laughing back. And most importantly, she kept choosing herself. Even now, as she looks back at the chaos, the miracles, and the heartbreaks, Kym says her life feels like it was stitched together by moments she never planned. She never planned to move to Africa as a kid, never planned to become a tomboy who could crush boys in contests, never planned to audition for Martin, never planned to get spanked so hard in Next Friday that production shut down, never planned to save a man's life at a Dodgers game. And she definitely never planned to become a mother because someone left a baby for her to find, but fate, divine timing, destiny, whatever you want to call it, kept pushing her toward the life she was meant to have. Joshua is a teenager now, taller, louder, funnier, and full of the same spark Kym had at his age. She chose to use the word adoption early, not to distance him from the story, but to empower him. He knows he wasn't abandoned. He was selected. The world sees him as adopted, but he sees himself as chosen. And that distinction changed everything. Through the years, his Hollywood aunties and uncles have become part of his identity. He grew up around cameras, comedians, wild personalities, and countless people who loved him because they loved Kym. He wasn't raised by one woman, he was raised by a community. Kym has spoken often about how becoming a mother late in life softened her edges. It made her gentler, more patient, more focused. Before Joshua, Kym was sprinting through Hollywood with the kind of chaotic determination only a young actress can manage. After him, her goals became clearer. Her career became more meaningful. Her choices became intentional. And despite having 7 engagement rings, the one thing the world expected, a wedding, never happened. Marriage wasn't her destiny, but motherhood was. Today, Kym's schedule is packed. Her stand-up tour sells out in every city. Her Vegas residency at Jimmy Kimmel's Comedy Club is one of the hottest comedy shows in Vegas. Two Funny Mamas keeps rising in the podcast charts, fueled by her chemistry with Sherry Shepherd. And Happy Gilmore 2 smashed Netflix streaming numbers, reminding the world that Kym Whitley is still a comedic force you cannot replace. Behind the scenes, she's developing multiple new projects, scripted shows, specials, collaborations, and films. She's stepping into a new era, one where she controls the narrative instead of waiting for Hollywood to write one for her. Ask Kym what she wants most right now, and she'll say the same thing every time. Peace. Not fame, not drama, not attention. Peace. The kind she didn't have in her 20s, the kind she couldn't afford in her 30s, the kind she didn't understand in her 40s, the kind she earned in her 60s. Because after everything, the laughs, the tears, the scandals, the bruises, the miracles, she knows her real legacy isn't a movie or a show or a character. It's the son she raised, the community she built, the kindness she never let Hollywood beat out of her. She tells young actors, have no fear, try everything except cocaine. Classic Kym, raw, funny, honest, and accidentally inspirational all at once. She doesn't pretend to have it all figured out. She doesn't hide her mistakes. She doesn't sugarcoat the industry. She just shows up, authentic, unfiltered, and fully herself. And that's why audiences love her, because she's proof that success isn't about perfection. It's about resilience, personality, and heart. From Sudan to Hollywood, from auditions to sitcoms, from comedic chaos to motherhood. From 7 engagement rings to raising a chosen son, from near obscurity to total longevity. Kym Whitley didn't just survive Hollywood. She conquered it with prosthetic teeth, latex outfits, fearless comedy, and a divine phone call that changed her life forever. And somewhere in a studio vault, Ice Cube still has that footage of her dancing in latex, waiting to go viral. If you enjoyed this deep dive into Kym Whitley's unbelievable journey, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to Hoodline Gossip, and turn on notifications so you never miss our next story. And tell us in the comments, which part of Kym's journey shocked you the most? Your engagement helps us bring more stories like this to life. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.